you know, 18 years, you know, later, since August 31st, 2004, you know, after April 30th, 2004, you know, I feel real, you know. I feel real, you know. I'm not suicidal. I am not suicidal. But I am not a threat to myself or others, you know. I said that, you know, on August 31st, 2004, when, you know, I was told that I had a child, I said I did not want any more children, you know. And, you know, someone else, you know, had an idea about a brother and a sister for, you know, your trail. It wasn't my idea, you know, and it was not for me, you know. Since I didn't want to look like a deadbeat dad, you know, I was told, you know, that I'm not a deadbeat dad, you know. I'm not a sperm donor. And, you know, they, when I called the family court, you know, on the phone, of course, you know, because they told me that, you know, I don't have to come to the court or go there and, you know, this type of stuff like that because, you know, speaking my truth, that, you know, it would be unfair or it'll be like abusive to me, you know, being married, you know, as a husband, you know, that, you know, for people to try to make me look like, you know, I was the bad guy and stuff like that when I'm not, you know. People would always talk about family, you know. That's why I say the family would have to explain. It was like a family court and stuff like that, you know. When I was growing up, man, they said a lot of people was family. But did they behave like family? You know, did they treat me like family, you know? I mean, what kind of family, you know? I don't even really understand, you know? But I'm not talking about the children according to the, you know, the Jefferson County family. I'm talking about like, you know, the other people that they said was family, you know. When they said it was like somebody like, you know, Willie and Yolanda and stuff, or they call themselves Beat Mama, or I don't know, you know. They filed petitions on me at 2501 20th Street when I was 14 years old, you know. Had me locked up when I was 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, you know. All of that, you know. It's like I didn't even really get to be, you know, a teenager, you know. For real, for real. And, you know, before that, you know, I was living in the projects, you know, in Gate City, Alabama, in the city of Birmingham. And, you know, I went to some Deadly Head Start or Sherman Heights place like that, something like that, you know. And when I left there, you know, went to the projects again in Bessemer at 2703 Dartmouth Avenue. You know, I was being abused and molested and given pills and beer and alcohol and drugs and stuff like that. You know, they called it pills or medicine and stuff like that, you know. Kind of did something to my head, like make me crazy, you know. It made me feel weird, you know. They took naked pictures of us and stuff like that. I'm like, I really didn't know what to do, you know. And then, you know, according to the information online, they said it was stuff like boy inseminations and traditions of men and sex practices and stuff like that. You know, I'm like, no, no, this is wrong. You know, it's crazy because when they call themselves a family, I'm like, if you can love the people that did that stuff to me, I never did any of that stuff to anyone. It was like, you should really love me, you know. It's crazy, Like, when I was growing up, when they said different people was family and stuff, when they said it was a person named, you know, Robert or something, and Helen, you know, the Davidsons, what do they call themselves? Robert Lee Davidson and Helen Davidson, They say her name was Helen Sanders, some Sanders family or something like that. They say when he said he had children and stuff like that, they just try to call themselves the family, the uncles and stuff like that, Well, when they had children and stuff, when they say they had children, when they say the dude named Tony had children, I never heard of him being married, and staying until the child turned 18, actually being married. Whether you was treated like garbage or not, because I've been treated real bad, by a family is what they say, They say he had a baby named Shanika. I never heard of him being married or staying until he was 18, with her. And then, I never heard that, he was ever married, And when they said that he had a son, Lil Tony, I never heard of him, being married to his mom or staying until he was 18 with her, Those people had a history of letting the person who they called the grandmother or the big mama take the children and do all kind of stuff that I don't even understand with them, When they said, it was they named Helen and Robert Lee or Davidson or something like that, And he said he had a son or something. They said he had a son. They had a child named Wendell or Wendell, Mr. Wendell or something like that. And they said he had a son like Tavez or a girl named Tequila or something like that. I never heard of him like being married, to, staying until they was 18, stuff like that. So when you say that they your family and you love them people like that, since I actually stayed, for the child, went to all the court dates, was treated like trash, I would look online on the internet. They would be like celebrating the little holidays, talking about Father's Day and stuff like that and stuff. And the girls would be bragging on those guys that didn't even marry them. They would be bragging on those guys that didn't even stay until the child was 18, whether it was the firstborn or whether it was a child that they asked for or not, If you can love them, and say all that good stuff about them, they was like, then you should really love me, Because I actually stayed, even though I'm not sure what happened, How many times was I molested before April 30th? How many times was I molested after April 30th, of 2004? It's crazy, But I'm not suicidal and I'm not a threat to myself or others, And I was told not to think bad thoughts about my wife, and, so I don't have anything bad to say about my wife because, whoever molested or abused me or did this stuff to me, I don't think my wife would do that. It seemed like somebody must, abuse both of us or something like that. It's crazy. I really just don't even know what's going on. So, when they say they was a family and stuff like that, they say, so they named Molly or Margot Bazell or something like that. He said she had the son named Kevin Sanders, you know. Say he had the daughter named Kiara. You know, I'm not really sure what her last name was. Was it Kiara Sanders or something else? You know, he had a baby, you know, with some lady, you know, and she's supposed to have already had a son named Terrell or something like that. Like, you know, Kevin didn't stay, you know, married, you know, and he wasn't there for the child till they was 18, you know, claiming his marriage, claiming the children. I don't even really know what happened to him, you know. You know those people that they call family, you know, they side of the family, those people, whatever they call it, I don't know. You know, when they said that, you know, that it was some more people, it was some other people in the family, you know. So the lady they said her name was Antoinette, or Halsey. I think it was Halsey. And she's supposed to have, you know, a son named Jamil or something like that, and a son named Jarvis or something like that, you know. They said she was married to this dude named Roderick, you know. And, you know, they would brag a lot, you know, when I would be at, you know, those places where they would be at, you know, about this dude named Aldwin or Wee Wee or, you know, Audwin Johnson, you know. And he was a child molester in the sex offender because, you know, he abused me when I was a child, and then, you know, he had that baby Kimaya. You know, she was born, you know, sometime in 1996, I believe, on February 14th, you know. And on the date of February 14th, 1996, the dude that they call Aldwin and stuff like that, he had to be at least 18 years of age when Kimaya was born. And the mom, you know, of Kimaya, she wasn't even a 16-year-old girl. She wasn't even the age of consent. So when I would be there around, you know, Nick and Antoinette, that's what they said her name was, Halsey and Jarvis and Jamil, it wasn't a lot of times, you know, because they had their own beauty shop in Vinesville. It was called El Shaddai or something like that. You know, they said that, you know, it was a lady that, you know, would stay with them named Ruth or Aunt Ruth or Auntie Ruth is what they would call her, you know. And, you know, I never really know, you know, how, like, the family tree or the was organized and stuff like that. It's like, it seemed like, you know, they gave credit to the wrong people, you know. It seemed like they trusted in, you know, they put their faith in the wrong, you know, people in the family, you know. Some of them, you know, because, you know, I was treated real bad, you know. When I would be there, you know, there was supposed to be a girl named Candace that stayed in the house with them. She was older than Jarvis and Jamil. You know, she was the oldest one. I didn't really know, like, how she was related to them because, you know, Jarvis and Jamil and Nick and Rodney, you know, they looked at like, you know, those darker skinned people, you know. And I wasn't mad at them, you know. I thought they was my family, you know. They seemed like they was family to me. That's what they told me, they was my family, you know. And, you know, when it was a girl named Candice, you know, she was real bright skinned and stuff like that. And she was the oldest one. I was like, how is she related to them? Like, I never know if she was their sister or any of that stuff, you know. She was the oldest one, you know. And like, you know, it's kind of confusing because when they start giving people the same names in the neighborhood, you know, because it was in the area code of 205 of Jefferson County, Alabama. It's like when all of these people had the same name and stuff like that, people be thinking you talking about them when you talking about somebody else and stuff like that. It just get real confusing and crazy, you know. So, you know, when I met, you know, the girl that I was supposed to be married to, you know, being married, you know, I went to 2715 Avenue E, you know, they was using them same names. It's like, when people said they was my cousin and my family members and stuff like that, you know, it seemed like it was some crazy incest mix that was going on because when the girl was talking about she was going to Jamaica, they said a girl went to Jamaica's house and, you know, she took her shirt off and got naked or something or did sex stuff with him and stuff like that. Like, this is what somebody told me, you know. I wasn't there, so I didn't really see the stuff happen. I'm like, wait a minute. So, you know, he's supposed to be my family and stuff like that, and you doing stuff with him, then, like, something wrong, you know, because, you know, like, I'm different, you know, like, I don't want my cousin's girlfriend. I don't want my, you know, brother's wife or my cousin's wife, or I don't want my mom's husband. I don't want my dad's wife, you know. I don't want my mother's husband. I don't want my, you know, father's wife, you know, in a sexual way, you know. And it seemed like I was molested, you know, by people that call themselves family, you know. Like before and after April 30th, 2004, it's just crazy, you know. And I don't like it. I don't like it, you know. And, you know, it's weird because, you know, when they say it was a family, you know, I don't really know what happened to Jarvis and Jamel and Nate and Aunt Ruth and stuff like that, you know. Last I heard, someone was talking about going to California and getting famous and stuff like that, and I don't know what happened to Nate or Antoinette and stuff like that, or Aunt Ruth and stuff like that. I like, because, you know, when I was 12 years old, they said something about a car accident and all the crazy mess and stuff like that, and it's like I had lost my memory and stuff like that, and then, you know, it's crazy. It's like, you know, they said they had sent me some toys or something like that. I believe that's it. When I was at 2501, it was like it was an action figure or something like that, you know. And some toys, and I didn't really know what happened after that, you know. It's like, because being abused, you know, at 2501 20th Street, you know, they just started calling herself Big Mama and stuff like that. I was like, wait a minute. Jarvis and Jamel would call Aunt Ruth Big Mama. Like, why you calling yourself Big Mama, Yolanda? I'm like, it's not your name. You're not Big Mama. Like, you can't steal her name. And it's crazy because, you know, it seems like that's what people been doing. Like, people been using people's identity and stealing people's names and trying to take people's positions and stuff in place. And it's crazy, you know. So, you know, I never understood why she would be calling herself Big Mama, because I'm like, well, when I was over there with Nick and Jarvis and Jamel and stuff like that, they would be calling Aunt Ruth Big Mama and stuff like that. And then the lady at 2501 20th Street started trying to call herself Big Mama. Like, you tried to steal her name and stuff like that. I'm like, something wrong. You know, and I didn't like it. I didn't like her calling herself Big Mama and stuff and all of that stuff because, you know, it wasn't, she wasn't doing it at first, you know. Seemed real disrespectful or shady or something. So, you know, I was at 2715, you know, Avenue E, you know. It was crazy because, you know, like, it was some people that said that they were part of the Willie Johnson family, you know. And when, you know, they said it was a girl named Shyla and she had a baby named Serenity, whoever the dude was that got her pregnant, he didn't stay until the child turned 18. And I never even heard that he ever even married her. She was never even married from what I heard. So, you know, if you could love them, you know, you should definitely be able to love me, you know, the guy that stayed till I was 18, you know. But you're not supposed to molest me or have sex with me or abuse me and stuff like that. It's not the same thing as love, you know. So, you know, it's crazy because, you know, they would always brag on this girl named Felicia, you know, talking about Randy and Phyllis and Felicia and Philip and Randy Jr. and stuff. And, you know, they said that Philip had different children by different people, and I don't know if he was ever married or not, you know. And I didn't do what he did, you know, the way that he did it or whatever. And, you know, the dude they call Randy Jr., you know, I saw him being mean to that girl, Felicia. I saw him jump off the bed, off the bunk bed, and sit on her face, and he farted in her face when I was there. And, you know, I was like, man, it's bad. Like, the way to treat your sister, you know. And, you know, they said, you know, Felicia had died or something like that. And I don't know what happened with Randy Jr. and stuff like that, or Randy and Phyllis and stuff. But, you know, they said something about, you know, that it was the same thing with them, you know. They didn't stay married or something. It's crazy, you know. I just, so a lot of people was like, you know, well, since nobody set the right example for me and they don't even know how I was able to stay, you know, it's crazy, you know. I would always say I believe in God, so, you know, I believe God, you know, stuff like that, you know. So it's crazy, you know, like the way that people would say that they family and stuff like that. But when I was locked up, when I was in jail, you know, they weren't saying they was family then. If somebody was stealing my letters or stealing my mail, I didn't get letters from any of those people that said they were my family, you know. I didn't get any mail, you know what I mean, like letters to read, you know, or pictures or, you know, stuff like that, visitations, you know. They didn't identify themselves as my family and stuff like that. You know, it's crazy, you know. So, you know, they say as of August 31st, 2004, you know, they said I was, you know, someone's dad and stuff like that. And then, you know, 18 years later, I'm actually still here, you know. And I don't know why they wanted him to have a brother and a sister. And, you know, nobody told me about what was going on or what was the reason for it. And, you know, it's just crazy, you know. Because, you know, during these 18 years, people kept trying to get me to fight people, you know. And I don't even understand why, because they kept trying to get me to fight this dude named TJ. They kept trying to get me to fight this dude, Jamal or Milton. They kept trying to get me to fight a dude named Pee Wee. They kept trying to get me to fight the dude named Wee Wee and stuff like that. You know, they kept trying to get me to fight, you know, people in the street and stuff. You know, people be like, well, he touched my leg, or he touched my butt, or, you know, he tried to talk to me, or, you know, he tried to have sex with me, or he, you know, all of these crazy stuff, you know. So I wouldn't really even like going to those parties or to those get-togethers and stuff like that, because it would always just be mess. Or people trying to have sex with each other and they supposed to be family. It's weird, you know. That's why I wouldn't like going to Sean's house and I wouldn't like going to them places. And it's weird because I'm like, what happened to the girl that said just for me? You know, they said she was just for me. You know, it wasn't all about, you know, doing stuff for y'all trail. It wasn't all about him having a brother or a sister. It wasn't all about the family, because being married, somebody was supposed to be being my wife. You know, that situation. Especially, you know, if all of those other guys, you know, was able to get, you know, bragged on and stuff like that for having sex with somebody, making a baby, and not even sticking around until the child was 18 years old, not even being married to them in the first place, making them have abortions, making them have miscarriages, just throwing money, you know, on top of a situation to try to cover it up, saying that it never happened, you know, stuff like that, you know. And, you know, I just never did really understand, like, you know, that's probably why they say that I have post-traumatic stress disorder, major depression, you know, the kind where I'm not suicidal and not a threat to myself or others, because I didn't do any of this stuff to myself or to other people. There's no reason for me to be mad at myself. There's no reason for me to hate myself, you know. And since I didn't do any of this stuff to any of you, you know, there's no reason for any of you to be mad at me, you know. So I'm not really mad at any of you, you know. So, you know, when I would go to those places, you know, I wouldn't want to go there, you know, and it was crazy because I don't know why the person that was with me would take me to those places where those people were that, you know, said they were family and would have sex with each other. Instead of calling them their sisters and their cousins and their brothers and their families, they could have just told me that them people be having sex with each other, and if it make me uncomfortable, I don't have to go and I don't have to be there. You know, the same way like those people at the court. It was a link in the description said that the mom or the mother or the family would have to explain because, you know, I don't have to actually go there or be there. Stuff like that, you know. I saw some of them girls, you know, they said that they was hanging around Brian Green and TJ. They said it was a family. They said it was TJ was Brian Green cousin and Jamal was their cousin and Pee Wee was their cousin. I saw them at them houses, you know. They said those guys would have guns. They would steal cars. They claimed they was in a gang. You know, they got girls pregnant and stuff like that when they was in the 9th grade, you know. And they didn't even marry those girls, you know, before the child was born, and they didn't even stay with those girls until the child was 18. And you know, they did not even, you know, move those girls out of their mom's house, you know, the way that I moved the girl out of their mom's house, you know. She said it was her mom's house, you know, when I was living at 402 May Circle, Cane Creek, you know, before August 31st, 2004, you know, before the child was born. So if you can love those guys, you know, it's crazy that, you know, I would be treated bad because you should really love me, you know. And it's crazy because, you know, I wasn't even treated that good, you know. Just me being in a room by myself, whether it was in jail or a hotel or somewhere. You know, the girl that was with me would always go to school and go to tutoring and stuff like that. So I never really got to see her and stuff like that or whatever. I guess she didn't want to be with me and she didn't want to be around me. And it never made sense to me because why would you want to be at those schools, at those places where those guys were abusing those females if they was molesting children and abusing you and stuff like that? It's like, why would you even want to go there? You know, the same way that they was talking about homeschooling and stuff like that. And, you know, she could have just been with me, you know, the whole time. But, you know, I guess some people cared more about the people that they call their friends and their family and stuff like that, you know. And, you know, I'm not even sure what happened, you know, because, you know, I would never, you know, want to think bad thoughts about my wife or say stuff, you know, the wrong way about the wrong people, you know, because I don't really understand who was using whose identity or what the hell was going on. But I wouldn't like going to those parties with those people. I never did like going to those parties because, see, when I was at 2928 Avenue T, they said they was having a birthday party. It was not for me. It was not a bridal shower. It was not for the marriage or anything. And that guy Brian Green came over there, you know, the people that said they was part of TJ's family and Jamal Davis, you know, that Davis family and those Latissa Davis people. And he said, I would kill you, but you with your wife. That's what he said when I was there that day. And I'm like, why would you bring me to a place, you know, where you know those people was going to be at? Instead of just telling me that, you know, don't go over there because since they want to be friends and family with TJ and Brian and people like that, and they wanted to pull guns on you. And it's crazy because, you know, when I was there one time, the dude that they said was Brian Green's brother, Derek Green, you know, he pulled the gun out in front of your trail and the girl that was with me in the car at the same place. I'm like, this is crazy. Why did y'all ever hang out with TJ or Derek Green or that family? They call themselves Fishy or the Fish family or something like this. Crazy, you know. All that abuse, you know. None of this never had to happen. And, you know, it's crazy because, you know, when there would be birthdays, you know, they called the dude Derek Green Reebok. And she would always ask for Reebok shoes. And I'm like, that's crazy. If those people are so mean and pull guns on me and abuse the people in the family and use the girls for sex and stuff, why would you be such a fan of Reebok shoes? Like, and then, you know, they would try to get me to do stuff for them, you know, like make music and beats and talk about the stuff that they like, you know, and it's crazy, you know. Feel like I was set up or used or abused or something. But, you know, all I can say is that, you know, I might not understand all of it, but, you know, I love you all. Believe me, I do. But, you know, I was told that someone had some explaining to do about their connection to those people and those families and that stuff like that. And why was I abused? And why am I in the wrong? Just me. Where is my wife? What's going on? It's been 18 years of me, you know, being here. And when they said that I was going to do stuff with the other people who abuse the children or have sex, some of this, some baby, I did not. So someone, you know, was wrong and I was doing wrong, you know. But I'm not suicidal. I'm not a threat to myself or others. And I love you all. Believe me, I do. So, you know, there's some questions that need to be answered.